Okay, so I have Amy here and she's going to model my horse, and we're going to talk about why steering from the inside aids makes a horse unbalanced. And what we're going to do is demonstrate, because Amy's been kind enough to let me ride her. So we're going to, for the sake of demonstration, say that this is the inside aids and this is the outside aids. And when I talk about inside and outside aids, that means your inside rein and your inside leg, and your outside aids would be your outside leg and your outside rein. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Amy go on a circle, and this will mean go forward. And I'm going to turn her, and she's starting to fall in, so now I have to use my outside rein to pull her out. Now she's falling out. Now I've got to steer, and she's starting to get really sloggy. I've got to move her rib cage over. Now she's looking to the outside, so I've got to turn her head back in and get inside flexion. But she's really not going forward, so I've got to spur a lot. Now she's hollowed out, so I've got to round her head back in. Now I've got to move her rib cage over. And now I need her to trot. Go, trot, hurry. She's really digging on my inside leg, so I've got to push her over. Okay, you can stop. So, how did you feel, Amy?
Terrible. I could barely move. I felt like I was on cement.
You could barely move.
Barely move.
So what was the first thing that you noticed when I started to steer you in the very beginning, when I went like this?
I fell right onto my inside.
So the space between your rib cage and the top of your hip collapsed. And then what happened after you did that? I'll do it again. Where does your nose go?
Down.
Okay. So your head has gotten crooked.
Right.
So that, as if you imagine it being a horse is going to respond much the same, except they're on four legs. So when we steer from the inside rein, it pulls the inside shoulder over and forces the horse to balance on that inside shoulder. The horse has to counterbalance with the weight of their head, and often what they'll do is tip their nose to the outside, or they'll tip their nose to the inside and down. And for a horse whose eyes are on the side of their head, they no longer can see well when they do that. But once she's fallen on her inside shoulder, which hip is higher, your right hip or your left?
Left.
Your right.
This one.
Yep. So your right hip is now higher, so you have two different lengths of leg, basically. So go ahead and walk again, and we'll walk through what's happening. Which leg is going to the ground quicker? The left.
Yes.
Which leg is slowest? The right. Yep. So you basically have short stride, long dragging stride, short, long, and I have to micromanage every detail of your body to try and straighten you out because you're so crooked. And then to get you to speed up, I really can't get you to speed up because you're so unbalanced and so tense that you aren't able to do what I want you to do. Right. So now I'm going to fix it for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
You're ready. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to go, again, this is the inside aids and this is the outside aids. Go ahead and go forward. I'm going to turn you from the right side of your body. How do you feel?
Balance.
Okay. Try to pick up a trot. Okay, and slow. And stop. Back up. Go forward. And turn. Suddenly you're a lot more obedient.
Felt more balanced.
Yeah.
And more in control of my body parts.
Yep. And I didn't have to fix anything. And the cool thing is that when I turn you from the outside, where does your head go? Exactly where I wanted you to go. So if we were riding and you were my horse and I turn you from the outside, I immediately have really nice left flexion without me having to manipulate your head and hold and pull. And the space between your ribs and your hips stays the same. So if you were a horse and you were over your four legs, you would have a nice flat back and you would have four legs in each corner ideally. And then as we go, tell me which leg is shorter, or are they the same?
To me, they feel the same.
Good, they feel the same. And it was really easy for me to steer you, slow you, speed you up, stop you, and anything that I needed to do because I didn't put you off balance in the first place.
And I felt more like I could trust you.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big thing too, is that when you put a horse off balance, everything that we ask them to do requires them to tense up their bodies to protect themselves from us. So by putting them off balance, even with good intentions, the horse can't fully trust you and can't fully relax. So allowing her to be in balance by turning from the outside of her body and the inside equally, because I had a hand on each side. So if I were steering, it would be like this as opposed to this or this. So this puts her off balance, this keeps her in balance. So we'll get started going to the left with you on the right side, on the outside. And the goal is to get Geronimo to take a longer outside of his body than inside of his body, and that's what's going to allow him to bend. So by being on the right side, we can help him move away from Melinda, around the turn, lengthening the outside of his body. A left bend will come from him having a longer right side of his body than left side. So keep your hand forward a little bit so that you don't get him stuck on the turn. Think of your points. Perfect. Perfect. Keeping that right front leg reaching. Perfect.
Over the rails?
Yeah, go ahead and go over the poles. And as you warm up, you'll notice his head and neck are coming down, his tail's relaxing up, and he's looking very nice and straight. So it's just important in your corners that you don't accidentally let your hand get stuck behind him. But we can tell Geronimo's in a good balance because his jaw's relaxed, his neck is nice and long, he's licking and chewing. He's got the ability to take nice full breaths. We have the same tempo in the front legs as the back legs. He's a happy camper. So we're going to make a left circle with Melinda being on the left side. So this is simulating turning to the left from the inside of the horse's body. Melinda, just go ahead and start a circle here. So his front legs are choppy. His inside front leg is quicker and shorter than any of the other ones. Let me get ahead of you, Melinda. So start circling toward me so I can show what Geronimo is doing. He's falling toward Melinda. He's lost rhythm. Keep up your circle here. So his left front leg is now stepping toward her. His neck has gotten shorter and he's a lot more crooked. Just come toward me one more time, like straight toward me. So she's turning from the left side of his body. So we see a lot more crookedness and loss of balance.